Welcome to a very special edition of a Beginner Breakdown. We are back, alright, talking about what else? The fried liver 2 nights defense, which is apparently better than the fried liver. But I wouldn't be surprised.
Mike, hey, I'm sorry to interrupt you guys. Mike, I don't know how to tell you this, but we've decided to go in a different direction here at the club. We no longer are going to be doing Beginner Breakdown. It's just not working out. Look, nobody's coming out, so we're canceling the show.
Oh, man. Oh, man. On whose authority?
Dude, the people have spoken. Have you read the YouTube comments? The people's mandate says no more Mike Comer. Have you not read anything?
Well, who's gonna replace me?
Dude, anybody could replace you. Just look, I could go off the street right now. I could find anybody to replace you, Mike. Dude, really.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Dude, all right. Ben, come with me. Let's go. I gotta figure this out. Let's go. Oh, hey, sir, how you doing today? Dude, we need you to fill in for a chess class. You know anything about chess today? That's fine, that's cool. Just come on in. It's called tactics time. You got this.
Thank you for the warm welcome. Want to thank all of you guys for coming out. My name is Dennis LaRue. This is Tactics Time. This is going to be a series of lectures where we focus on basic tactical ideas. It's going to be close in format to beginner breakdown and kind of staying true to the roots of the great tradition of YouTube videos that the chess club here has been engaged in. I'm going to look at a game. Essential knowledge for anybody in the beginner to intermediate level. And that game is the opera game. It's known as the opera game between Paul Morphy, the strongest American player of the time, and 2 French aristocrats. Morphy has the white pieces in this game, and if the story is true, it was played in an opera house, and he allowed them to consult with each other, these 2 aristocrats, and he still just destroyed them. And our goal today is to identify some of the general positional ideas that are guiding Morphy's play, the general positional ideas and basic principles that we use and teach beginners. But more importantly than that, we're going to try and find the winning tactics. Okay, so if you've seen the game, feel free to chime in if you feel that I'm overlooking something important or neglecting an important sideline. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoy going over this as much as I always do. I know it's always a rewarding experience. So we have e4 and e5 on the board. In most opening encyclopedias, this is categorized as an open game. The reason being that the center typically opens up a little bit faster, and white makes a logical second move, attacking the e5 square. Here, black has a number of reasonable options. The knight to c6 is what's most often played. But the consultants picked a move that still gets played to this day, d6, entering the Philidor defense. Find a strong pawn move that actively contests the center. Black has made it easy and almost invited white to just get a nice healthy pawn center and establish firm, lasting control of it. And so he does that. But I do feel it's kind of important just to sit here and pause just for a moment, because there are a number of ways that you can proceed, and students, especially in the under 1,000 range, I see they often want to make really passive moves here. And some of the better options are like a bishop move to get ready to castle kingside, or knight c3. All of these are playable. But this is the way to try and gain a lasting initiative. And here Black makes a move that I still see in the casual play area. When I'm playing Blitz, this was played against me the other day, and I got really excited because I knew exactly what to do here. And this is another position where I always ask the students to tell me what they think is the best move for white and why. So at home, you may want to pause your video. This is far from the toughest, but the point of making a puzzle out of this kind of position is to really ingrain a certain way of thinking about opening and developing in the first few moves of the game. So anybody in the audience, what didn't you like about capturing immediately on e5? Did you consider that? I believe everyone's agreed on this being a mistake, but why? Why is this a mistake? And unfortunately, a move like bishop e2 doesn't necessarily illustrate the concrete variation, which shows that this move will leave black with a permanent disadvantage. And the move that really highlights or accentuates that weakness is to capture immediately. That if black plays the most straightforward and logical continuation, just recapturing here, losing the e5 pawn. There's a danger of losing that e5 pawn. So if he does recapture directly, it should be clear to those at home and everyone in the class at this point that white has this resource at his disposal. He can trade queens on the d file, breaking that pin on the knight f3, capture that e5 pawn. Yeah. Okay. Black sees that. Between the two of them, they were able to identify that. So like most of us in this room who play Blitz a lot, and I see a few of you, this is the kind of decision that we would make over the board. And here, at the risk of being overly remedial, I always ask my students, how would you recapture here? Seems obvious that you would capture with the queen, but some of them just haven't quite appreciated yet that you don't want to double pawns and mutilate your pawn structure for no good reason. So you certainly do capture with the queen here. Now black can recapture safely on e5, but white's looking good. Here I also pause a lot, and I get them to think about the general ideas in this opening by bringing up fool's mate and scholar's mate. And I ask them, what are the main ideas behind those? Obviously, if they listen to me, they don't try those in tournaments because they break a lot of fundamental opening principles. You don't want to move your queen to h5, on your first or second move, which is what scholar's mate and fool's mate entail. But we still teach those mating patterns to students because they exemplify a theme or an idea which is always present. Sometimes it's just lurking in the background, but often it's in the foreground of any e4, e5 opening. And that theme is a favorite of Mike Cummers to cover and talk about. The fried liver attack, it's often referred to as. But I just think of it as an attack on weak f7. So with that being said, I always ask my students, what's a natural and logical developing move which attacks f7, which, because of the previous line of play, is already under attack by the queen on f3. We all know what the threat is, and if we don't, now we do, because I'm going to keep using this cool highlight function here. This pair of French aristocrats in the late 1800s, being a respectable pair of chess players, aren't too keen on being checkmated on move 4 or 5 or whatever this is. How do you prevent that mate on f7? Ooh, knight h6 is interesting, because instead of just interfering, like Jason's suggestion, here he's interfering with the queen's action. In your suggested line, he's directly protecting it, right? There's just one little problem. That h6 square is under attack. So what happens if I just take that knight?
Stop attacking anymore.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And now, a sad day for black. But this is the reason that some of us may say, oh, this is too basic, too simple. No, I mean the Morphy game and all of Morphy's game have plenty of ideas and stuff to teach players of all strengths. So here, as Jason suggested, they correctly interposed the knight on f6. Okay. Morphy is undeterred. He is determined to put all of his might, all of his force on that f7 square. This is the one where I can tell where, to me, I use this to determine how predisposed, some of my students are to it. I tell them, find a square or find a move that attacks f7 twice again, that renews the attack on f7. The bishop is already attacking f7, so it can't be a bishop move. The queen was attacking f7. The knight on f6 put a stop to that. It's a queen move. Find a queen move. But on b3, we are attacking f7 the second time. And we're making some other threats as well. You guys feel free to shout them out. What else is white threatening here on the light squares? I'm sorry? Capturing the weak b7 pawn. Right. And it's weak as a consequence of black's inaccurate play in the opening. He made a thoughtless bishop move, which led to a line in which he was forced to exchange it for the knight on f3. And now the light squares are absent a defender, a very important defender. So, the problem persists, the same problem. f7 is under attack. How does black address this issue? And definitely at home, take some time. f7 is under attack. We want to defend it. But we've also got another thing to worry about. This is slightly inferior to what was played in the game. Okay? And I want the viewers at home and you in the class to really think about why. And if anybody could tell me at this point, that'd be awesome. Not Claudio, though, because Claudio knows. So this what are we going to do here with black? Is there any way to save that rook? queen c6. Right? Yeah. But this is the kind of thing, like the details, like Danny's always saying. It's the little details which make or break it. Yeah. So, ideas? No?
I don't know if you can say that. I see why.
Oh yeah, say it. Let's hear it. Why? Why is this better?
When they take, you
Huh.
can check the fifth which is not protected by the bishop.
Beautiful. Yep. To me, this is the one of the main objectives when I review this with students, is to make sure that they can see that because with black, the theme is just stubborn defense. Yeah, you got yourself into a lot of trouble, but if white is careless and thoughtless here, gets greedy and attacks the rook in this position, you can take the steam out of his attack. You'll be down a pawn, but as the young man in the back was pointing out, you have a little forcing exchange here. Obviously he has to do that, right? Unless he wants to lose his queen. You've at least eliminated the risk of an early checkmate, which is a risk that these guys are flirting with and ultimately they succumb to. So luckily for them, though, they saw that. Morphy, being awesome as he was, did not get greedy like myself or many others at our level would and take here thoughtlessly. He looked for the best way to maximize his already considerable advantage. And he followed just general principled play, which, as I said at the beginning, is kind of what we wanted to focus on here. We're taught all these ideas: control the center, develop rapidly, castle early. But often, for whatever reason, we wind up neglecting them in our actual games. And one reason is that we don't train ourselves and condition ourselves to constantly be asking ourselves whether or not we're playing by them. White makes a pretty good, black makes a reasonable, at least, defensive move. He does not want that knight on d5. It will be a monster there. And so he plays c6. Totally understandable. Morphy, staying in line with these basic principles of opening play, which we were just talking about, develops his final piece in the most active way possible, creating a pin. And black starts to panic because of some of the issues in his position, namely the fact that the king is stuck in the center. So while white is exemplifying good opening play, black is an example of horrible opening play. His king stuck in the center for the foreseeable future, and he has two minors still on the back row, whereas white has all of his minors. He has this beautiful development going on, all of his minors off the back, and he has the option of developing on whichever side he'd like. So he panics, and he wants to get this bishop off the diagonal so that he can move his queen, on a good day, get that dark squared bishop out and castle kingside. And he makes this horrible losing move. The name of this class is Tactics Time. Pause your video at home if you've never seen this. What is the tactical idea here? Okay. Well, instead of being passive and retreating this bishop, he says no. This is the cornerstone of my whole attack and all of my ideas in this game. I will not, give up this bishop, this light squared bishop, without a fight. But this knight, however, is quite expendable. For the price of 2 pawns, that's fine, because one of the benefits or some of the compensation that white will get in return is that this king will never, ever castle. So he gives up his knight gets his check in there. And I'm sure the players with black pieces started to get that sinking feeling in their stomach. You know, when I'm in positions like this, it's like, you know, you almost just start making bad moves just because you're, you know, the momentum is so bad. But here, to finish development with white in the most logical way. So what's the last stage in development? Typically castling. And that castling long kills two birds with one stone. It gets our king safe, and it adds pressure to this absolute pin that we've created on d7 against the knight on d7 with our bishop b5. Maybe for some of the younger students in the classroom, we can just point out that, you know, you must defend this. We can't let white capture in that position on d7. And here we're near the end. At home, go ahead and pause your video, spend a little time thinking about this. How would you proceed with white? And you guys in the class, you know, I'd really appreciate some feedback. You know, what do we think is best here? So like Mario just suggested, take. And we can start to see all of our principled plays start to bear fruit, as it were. This is a pretty forcing move here. And if I'm not mistaken, the engine wants you just to take with the queen at this point and not get checkmated. But these guys didn't have engines. They didn't make that losing move either. They made the most logical position and the most logical move in the position, recapturing with this rook here, fatally weakening the back rank. And here I will not go any further than this. Talk just for a second about that. Again, we're renewing pressure on the pin. And here, black is daydreaming. You know, he's hoping that, you know, white will have a lapse of judgment perhaps and allow him to exchange queens or maybe even initiate the queen exchange. Morphy's not having it. He wouldn't have gotten this far, wouldn't have attained this type of position without knowing exactly how to proceed here. But me, I didn't know how to proceed until it was spelled out for me. And you guys need to find what's up here. Okay, what do you see?
Bishop takes d7.
Okay. Then knight takes d7, and then what are you going to play? Can you see? I just want to, work out that calculation muscle really quick before I put it on the board. All right. Correct. Forcing move. Bishop takes. Clearly. And again, I think the engine will just tell you take with the queen here. Don't get checkmated. But he takes with the knight because he doesn't see the beautiful forcing mate in 1 here. Mate in 2, rather. Excuse me. Very impressed. I see a lot of people cheering back there for you. All right. Good. Well done. Are you sure, though, you're giving up the queen? You're positive? All right. I'm good. I just won a queen with black pieces, didn't I? What do you play here? You came, huh?
Rook d8.
Rook d8 what? What do we call that?
Checkmate.
Beautiful. Okay. And that is a forcing mate in 2. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed watching that as much as I enjoyed going over this classic and timeless game, Paul Morphy's opera game. Hit like, share, subscribe. Very open to feedback. You guys let us know what you'd like to see me cover in this new series, Tactics Time, that we've got going on. Okay, thanks a lot.